The Great Lakes are home to more than 6,000 shipwrecks. Lake Erie has the most with 2,000, followed by Lake Michigan at 1,500. Lake Superior is home to just 400 wrecks, and it would be tasteless to turn this into some sort of ghoulish competition, but this lake has all the best shipwrecks, and it's not even close.
On board, set sail, ahoy, hooray! We're leaving home today, 'cause we're gonna sail away.
Ask people to name a shipwreck on the Great Lakes, and most people will say the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's famous. It's a tragedy, with 25-foot waves taking down the ship and its entire 29-person crew. It's the largest ship to ever wreck on Lake Superior. It happened somewhat recently, November 10th, 1975, and Gordon Lightfoot sings a really sad song about it. Honestly, the saddest part is that it was too rough to feed him. And if that's your favorite shipwreck story, you're not alone. But I have 5 more stories I'd like you to consider. Listen to them, memorize them, share them at cocktail parties to win friends and influence people. The SS Onoko was the first iron-hulled steamer on Lake Superior. She's the grandmother for all bulk freighters that you see today. But in early September of 1915, she ran aground in Duluth's harbor. Nothing to worry about. She freed herself, but then, on September 15th, the Onoko, leaving Duluth with a load of grain, sprung a leak near Knife River. Again, nothing to worry about. I mean, the ship was sinking, but the entire crew calmly and safely abandoned ship before it disappeared. And then everyone promptly forgot where they left it. How do you lose a whole ship in a lake? It happens all the time. Fortunately, we have people who specialize in finding them again. This is Jerry Eliason, a shipwreck hunter and photographer.
The Onoko was the first offshore wreck that we found. We vowed that no matter what, we weren't going to stop looking for the Onoko till we found it.
He discovered her back in 1988.
We bought a $149 paper graph fish finder and decided that if we went back and forth enough times, we'd sooner find it.
I like Jerry. Don't worry, we'll talk to him again later. Before the last voyage of the Benjamin Noble, a customs officer in Conneaut, Ohio told her captain, "I should not like to ride with you. You're overloaded."
That thing was way the heck overloaded. I mean, it was almost sinking at the dock.
It was young Captain Eisenhardt's first commission, and he couldn't say no to all those tasty iron rails.
Tasty iron rails.
So he left for Duluth, promising his crew they'd take it easy. They made it all the way to Knife River, Minnesota.
It was a late April snowstorm, and they had 12, 15-foot waves out there.
The Benjamin Noble simply disappeared. There were no survivors.
And that was another one of those went missing wrecks. Went missing ship is one that went down without witnesses and went down with all hands. Finding them is extra difficult.
It wasn't until 2004 that Jerry and his team discovered the Benjamin Noble. By that time, she'd been missing for 90 years.
The Benjamin Noble was definitely one of the holy grails or Loch Ness monsters. That's what shipwreck enthusiasts say when it's a ship that has extra significance.
Maybe it's the name Knife River that keeps dooming these ships. Can we get a town on Lake Superior that sounds a little more gentle? Okay. The Lotta Bernard was a steamer with paddle wheels, so possibly too cute for Lake Superior? Lotta left Thunder Bay October 29th, 1874, loaded with 200 sacks of flour, 60 kegs of fish, 1 horse. As she passed Castle Danger, huge waves pounded her deck, smashed her cabins. Only her smokestack and deck remained. Of the 15 people on board, 12 would survive. No word on what happened to the horse. Survivors rowed ashore on a lifeboat and took shelter in an Ojibwe camp.
So the Lotta Bernard, yeah, that would be a nice one to find. The little one, that makes it harder. You know, small wooden ships on rugged bottoms are really tough.
Today, the Lotta Bernard remains a ghost ship. But don't worry, that's just what we call shipwrecks that haven't been found yet. So there's nothing scary about ghost ships at all. The SS Hudson is the scariest ghost ship story I have ever heard. The Hudson left Duluth September 15th, 1901. By the time she reached the Apostle Islands, the weather turned foul. The next day, lighthouse keepers in Eagle River, Michigan reported seeing Hudson dead in the water and listing badly. Eventually, she rolled over and sank, taking all 25 crew members with her. But here's the spooky part. Every year on September 16th, the anniversary of her sinking, the SS Hudson rises from her watery grave and appears to sailors on Lake Superior. No, I didn't believe this either, until I read an account by a tugboat captain in the 1940s. This captain, along with a crewmate, reported seeing a rusty ship covered in brown slime heading directly towards them. Narrowly avoiding a collision, the captain boarded the ship to see if the crew was in distress. They were ghosts. They told the captain they were doomed to relive the sinking of their ship every September 16th. And rightfully, in a panic, the tugboat captain dove into the frigid water to get away from the Hudson quickly. Very, very quickly. The Hudson was missing for 118 years, until Jerry Eliason found her in 2019 at a depth of 800 feet. It's one of the deepest shipwrecks ever found in Lake Superior.
2 years in a row, it was our intention to be out there on the anniversary of the sinking to disprove the story that it rises on that day. And both times we had too rough of weather to go.
Oh, God. I find this last shipwreck to be the saddest of them all because of a message found in a bottle. I'm just going to skip ahead to the bad parts. On the evening of December 6th, 1927, the SS Kamloops was last seen heavily coated with ice, steaming towards Isle Royale. The 22 men and women aboard were never seen alive again. In May 1928, several bodies were found at 12 o'clock point on Isle Royale. More were discovered in June for a total of 9. That December, a trapper working the shore of Lake Superior in Ontario found a message in a bottle from Alice Bettridge, young steward who initially survived the sinking and swam ashore. She wrote, "I am the last one left alive, freezing and starving to death on Isle Royale in Lake Superior. I just want my mom and dad to know my fate." Yikes, that's horrifying. The fate of the Kamloops was unknown for 50 years. Her wreck finally discovered in 1977, with some of the crew members' remains still on board.
Well, it's the final chapter. It's like there's this story that started 100 years ago, 120 years ago, and it stopped at that point, but it's not over. The story's not over. And then here, 110, 20, 30 years later, we got the final chapter.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some haunting sea shanties that need listening to.
On board, set sail, ahoy, hooray, we're leaving home today, 'cause we're gonna sail away.
Other episodes of Minnesota Historia include Duluth's doomed Winter Olympics, the legend of St. Urho, the Chief Buffalo Memorial Project, hunting for ancient agates, and the Root Beer Lady. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button so you won't miss future episodes. If you really like this video, become a member of WDSE and support projects just like this.